This is exactly what Senators fans want to hear. It has been just over 2 months since Tkachuk requested a trade and was ultimately traded to the Panthers, and we are starting to hear what players have to say, including from the franchise guy. Hello everyone, I am Eoghan Drumm, and welcome to Senators Digest, where we talk all things Ottawa Senators. Today we will be getting into some comments that have been coming out from some of the players on the current Ottawa Senators roster regarding the Tkachuk trade and how will they regroup going into next season with the loss of their former captain. We will be getting into that very shortly, but before we do, please go down and hit that subscribe button. It is 100% free, and we notice around 90% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you are an Ottawa Senators fan, or even just a fan of the league and want to stay in the loop of what's going on, rumors, reports, and some of the latest news regarding the Ottawa Senators, this is the place for you. So please go down and hit that subscribe button. Okay, so yes, players from the Senators are finally coming out and are weighing in on the whole Tkachuk situation from the trade being requested and how do they think this team will be able to regroup going into next season. And one player in particular that a lot of people have been waiting to hear from since the trade happened, Tim Stützle. Tim Stützle was at a NHL media day in Europe for a bunch of European players, and he was asked some questions regarding Brady Tkachuk and the whole trade situation. So let's get into one of his quotes that he put out from an interview down in Europe, and this is on the Tkachuk trade, and this is what Tim Stützle had to say. Quote, "It's his decision. There's nothing we can do about it. For me, he was always a great teammate and obviously a great hockey player, and we're going to miss him. He was always there for me, but at the end of the day, we've got to move on. We're going to miss him as a hockey player, as a person, and as a leader, but it is what it is." So obviously, Stützle saying Tkachuk was a great teammate, saying all the right things there. He's there from, I believe they were roommates when Stützle was a rookie. Tkachuk brought him in as a roommate. So, they've always been very close, been line mates for a good amount of time now. They played a lot of time together. But there's a few things from this quote that I find very interesting. Especially just saying, we've got to move on. Obviously, yes, he's now off the team. The distraction's gone, and I think I'm just going to speculate here. I feel like that's what that comment could be about, the distraction that Tkachuk created in the room. There's a lot of chatter about Tkachuk in the past few years about being, him wanting out of Ottawa and stuff with his podcast and all the stuff with the American team and all that. So maybe Stützle's hinting that it's gone now. We can move on and we can just regroup as a team because, I'm going to be honest, that I'm sure that took a big toll on the team. All this chatter from Tkachuk, them having to be asked all the stuff about him. So, it can become a lot, and the room would become a big distraction. And, it doesn't sound like the players really were expecting this Tkachuk trade request or even the trade to happen this offseason, because Shane Pinto also commented on the Tkachuk trade, and he simply just said, this is on Brady requesting a trade. Everyone was pretty shocked, and Pinto is someone who is pretty close with Tkachuk. They're pretty close to the same age. They're both American, so they've known each other for a good amount of time now. And the fact that Pinto didn't even know that Tkachuk was hinting towards requesting a trade just shows that this was a complete blindside for the entire locker room. And it's over now. Tkachuk's out of the room. And now it's time for this team to regroup without Brady. It's now Sens minus Tkachuk, and Tim Stützle is the main guy now. Him being in Europe at this media day, it was great to be able to hear what he had to say about the future of this team because he's now the guy. He is the main leader of this team. Obviously, he doesn't have the C or anything, and I don't know if he is going to get the C, but he is a very important player, and he is going to be one of the biggest voices in the rooms. And, he was asked about what he thinks the future of the Senators looks like. And, he still thinks they are on a good trajectory. He said, quote, "We are still a really young team, so I think everything is going to move up from here. I think everybody who is there right now loves being in Ottawa, loves playing for the Sens. So I think that's the biggest key, and that's what we want." He also continued saying, "I think we always had great leaders in the room, so there's not one guy who has to be the guy." This is obviously regarding the Senators' leadership after Tkachuk not being on the team anymore. "We have so many great guys who lead the team well, and everybody has an open ear for anyone. So we are just focused on the team we have, and I think we built a really great culture, which we are really proud about." So, Stützle still sounds like he is completely all in on what the Senators are building, and he is admitting they have a lot of great voices in the room, and he is one of them as well. Like I said, he is the main voice for the forwards for sure. Defensemen, obviously they have Sanderson and Chabot, two other guys who are up for the captaincy, but Stützle's the main guy in the main forward core, so he's got to step up big. I just feel like Tkachuk now being gone, the players can now unite that this is a place we all want to play. This is a winning team. All the negativity, all the distractions. Tkachuk, he didn't think the Sens were good enough. He wanted out. But now this core of players need to prove to the rest of the league that they are good enough to take the next step and make a little bit of a playoff run. Take that next step in the playoffs. And if these players want to prove that Ottawa is a great place to play, which, it sounds like they do think it is, and Stützle loves playing in Ottawa, and he's saying a lot of the other guys do as well. It's now time for them to prove that the team they are building and what Travis Green and Steve Staios has been building is in the right trajectory and on a trajectory to make a run for a Stanley Cup one day. We also heard from Jordan Spence, who is on the Coming in Hot podcast, and about the future of the Senators as well. And he said, when it comes down to it, I think that it's going to make us better. It's a big loss, but we've got to move on, and we still have a great team, and we're really excited for what's ahead. So the main message here from Stützle and Spence on what the future holds, we just have to move on. It's over. Tkachuk's not on the team anymore. This is the team. And, Spence said it there. He thinks this will make the team better. Like I reiterate, I think this will unite the team in a way that they hadn't been united before. So it'll be really interesting to see what this team will be able to do without Brady. They played games last year without him, and they did quite well when he wasn't in the lineup at the start of the year last year. So I don't think they are going to have a problem adjusting to it for him not being in the lineup. It's just the little things that they're going to be missing. The physicality, that big presence in front of the net. And, he is a big offensive threat as well. He does get a lot of points, a lot of goals. So they will be missing that void up front. But I think if they can all unite, each take on their own roles, and some players stepping up a little bit too, Stützle included, and Batherson are two, and Dylan Cozens, I think, are the big three that really need to step up with Tkachuk not being in the lineup anymore. I think if those three can step up, this team can be dangerous. What do you guys think on those comments from the Senators players? Do you think that they're a little bit insulted with Tkachuk not being or requesting a trade and not wanting to be in Ottawa anymore? And do you think that what this current core is, how the core is built now, that they can be better than they were, or do you think they will take a little step back? Let me know down in the comments, and also let me know if you have any video suggestions for the next few weeks of the offseason before we get into training camp in just around 3 weeks' time. That is all I have for you today. Another reminder, please go down and hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.